Welcome to this presentation of the Prints1 competition results. The club would like to thank Judge Jenny Graff for the comprehensive, insightful and helpful comments provided. So let's begin with the colour entries. This is a great close-up image of a bee. It is so sharp all the hairs and grains of pollen can be easily seen. The flower that the bee is on is also sharp. The petals on the upper left have some post-processing. There is a white halo around them, and there is a vertical line on the left also. If you presented this in square format, those petals would be eliminated. I will award this a not accepted because if you make some changes, you will have a very good image that you can resubmit. This image is well composed and well exposed. The rider is slightly soft and the spectators in the background are sharp. However, it is a good action shot. Sunset on the beach can be magical, and this is no exception. This image is well exposed. From the viewpoint of composition, the lady on the left is too close to the edge of the image and needs more space. There has been post-processing in this image, as can best be seen in the light areas around the heads of the walking couple. Post-processing should be impossible for the viewer to see. I would also suggest looking at the orange colours, which are a little intense, and consider toning them down. This is a lovely, restful image of a place where one could just sit and enjoy the scenery with its beautiful colours. It is well presented. I have a suspicion that a couple of the reflections have been added to in post-processing, but if so, it blends in quite well and doesn't detract from the image at all. This lady is very colourful, right down to her blue lipstick. She is sharp and well positioned in the image. The vertical perspective is such that the building leans outwards, but the overall appearance is that of leaning to the right. If you get the center of the image vertical, the rest is not too much of a problem. So rotate this to the left and it will look much better. This is an attractive building surrounded by beautiful gardens, a photographer's delight. For some reason, this image appears to be a little cloudy. It would be worth using the dehaze feature to see if it can be cleared up. This would also bring out the clouds a lot more. With a little bit of work, this could be a lovely image, so try a few things to improve it. This is not the usual photo we see of a meerkat. They are usually photographed standing to attention. The face is sharp and the colours are accurate. You have presented a different view of an endearing little creature. Well done. This is a lovely photo of a forest with the green vegetation on both the ground and the trees adding texture and interest. The image is acceptably sharp. One gets the impression that it is tilted down to the right, even though it may not be. I would experiment with this, as I think rotating it to the left a fraction will improve it. It is a lovely, restful image. This is a colourful image that clearly shows the people interacting with each other. The image is sharp, interesting, and well composed, although a little more room behind and in front of the boat wouldn't go astray. There are vertical lines on each side of the image from the printing process. This is a lovely shot of one of the cutest little birds around. The bird is sharp against the soft background. The twig coming toward the viewer is somewhat of a distraction, and cropping about halfway up it would minimize this significantly. If you did crop this and there was room behind the bird, that is on the right side of the image, it would be good to put some of that back so that the tail isn't right up against the edge of the image. Presenting this in square format would work well. This image is beautifully presented and as sharp as can be. From the lack of shadows, this must have been a cloudy day, and the image reflects that. Good work. Passion fruit flowers are stunning, as can be seen in this image. The detail is amazing and the colours lovely. It may be worth looking at the lighting, as there are some blown out areas on the petals. Diffused light almost always helps in this situation. This is an impressively sharp photo of one sunflower in a field of flowers, and it is very effective. The rear lighting shows the beauty of the petals. It's a very good image. The bird is pin sharp. The image is well composed and beautifully printed. Well done. This is a beautifully captured and stunning image of falling drops and their splashes. The timing and focus is perfect. Yellow stands out well against the dark background. There are only two little housekeeping things I would tidy up. One is the orange droplet mid-image about 12 centimeters from the bottom, and the other is the two small highlights at water level on each of the splashes. These are very minor issues and make no difference to the impact of this image. This is excellent work. This is an incredibly sharp image which is well presented on glossy paper. The colours of the bird blend beautifully with the colour of the water. Excellent work. This is a shot of the ruins of the church at Port Arthur. It is pin sharp and mono suits the image as there is only one building and little to contrast with it. There has been some very obvious work done on the tower in the left background, which has gone horribly wrong. In a photo of a historic building, I'm not sure what would require such drastic work, but irrespective of that, it is vital that any post-processing work should be completely invisible to the viewer. This is a lovely image that you should restore to its original state and start again. This is a great concept and somewhat of a challenge to photograph. Although the tea light candles are in a straight line, their flames are not, and for this image they need to be. Checking that the wicks are straight prior to lighting the candles helps, but as I've said, it is a challenge. When you get really frustrated, making a wavy pattern or putting them at an angle can be therapeutic until you recover your patience. These images can also be spectacular. There is only one candle in focus. This is a portrait format, and I'm not sure that having the center of focus almost at the bottom of an ascending line is the best way to present this. It would be worth taking more images using a different depth of field in each to see which one creates a more compelling image. This is a very scenic place with low cloud, mountains, water, and a shingled boat shed as well. It is sharp and well composed. The walkers are dwarfed by the scenery in this image and do not really stand out as a centre of interest. The eye tends to skim over them and go either to the boat shed or to the misty cloud over the mountain in the background. If you did want to bring attention to the people and make them the center of focus, the image would have to be in color because their clothing would be a contrast to the natural colors around them. The image has suffered in the printing process in that there are fine vertical lines throughout, but are more apparent in some areas than others. Bear this in mind when preparing prints. That is a very large ship and dominates the image. The jetties create two leading lines into the image, but not quite to the ship, as it has gone past one of them. This is an observation, not a problem. The image is sharp and interesting. The dark sky almost blends with the land and the ocean on the right, but once again, this is not a problem in this image. There are some small pieces of vegetation at the bottom that need to be cropped or cloned out. Because the ship is the point of focus, I would consider making it lower in the image by either cropping at the bottom or, if you have already cropped at the top, adding a bit back into the sky. There are very fine vertical printing lines in this image. Taking shots of flowers from behind can open up a whole new world. Not the pretty face we see from the front, but a more textured and at times more interesting one. It is well demonstrated in this image. The flower is pin sharp against a soft background, and the lighting accentuates the textures and shapes. The petals are very close to the edge, and a tiny bit more room on each side would be beneficial. Well done for thinking outside the square. This photo of the church ruins at Port Arthur is sharp and well composed. The cloudy day provides interest in the sky. There is slight keystoning that can easily be corrected in post-processing, although care would have to be taken so the tips of the spires aren't cropped out of the image. Seeing different things through the archways adds interest and holds the viewer's attention. Good work. I live about 10 minutes from Port Arthur, so this is a familiar sight and sight. This image is super sharp and taken from a very interesting angle that is not the norm. It shows the majestic scale of the place, and this is just a very small fraction of it. Despite the tragic history, both initially and more recently, it is a photographer's delight as there is so much to see and so many different angles from which to take shots, as is seen here. The history of the place is depressing, and Mono does reflect this. If one is looking purely at the physical beauty of what is left of the buildings, it is better expressed in colour. This image is beautifully presented in high gloss. Well done. This is a very good image which is sharp with lovely lighting. Mono really suits this image. Great work. This is just a magical image. Presenting it in mono makes it moody and adds an exotic beauty to these stunning flowers. The frame really suits this image and it is just the right width. My only suggestion is to reframe it just to center the lilies perfectly. There is just a tiny bit more room between the closest petal to the right edge than there is to the left. It's a superb image and beautifully presented. This is an incredibly sharp image of a simple dandelion that has created a striking image. Great work.